be here and talk. There is a bit of sadness with me because so many people have actually just sloped off. They may have more important things to do, they may have more interesting things to do, but it's my judgment they're going to actually lose out. Because what we're going to look at now is an explanation, or have an exploration of emotions, look at the cause of depression, the emotional solution to depression, and the block to the solution. I've worked as a psychotherapist now for 15 odd years. I've done a lot of work with a lot of people, many thousands of sessions, and a lot of my work is client referrals from EAPs, Employee Assistance Programs in the UK. So somebody working for IBM or a bank, etc., may have some issues, they get sent along. And for some of these clients, we only have 3 sessions. That's it, 3 sessions. Less than 3 hours contact time to bring about some form of change. And during that journey of working with them to bring about some change, I have formulated this concept. And one of the things that I want to challenge is a word that I've been hearing many times during today, and I've heard it thousands of times out here, and that's the word stress. And there is no such emotion as stress. There's no emotion stress. People use stress as a word when they mean sometimes that they're in their fear, and sometimes when they're in their anger. But because GPs and the medical profession, other than sedating individuals, which are very few, normally hospitalised, don't know what to do with anger, and they don't understand what anger is. So anger falls under the heading of stress. But if you speak with people, and if you find yourself speaking the stress word, I'd really encourage you to ask yourself, is it my fear or is it my anger? Because if it is your fear, there's one message, and if it's your anger, there's another message, which I'll be coming on to.
Would it be okay for you to use the mic, Stephen? Then you can walk around with the mic.
Okay, can you not hear me?
Well, it would probably be better.
Okay.
I just have to hide.
Somebody's looking after me.
Yeah.
Is that working?
Yeah, it's working.
Is that working? Oh, okay. Okay, so the DSM has been referred to earlier on. The DSM has got bigger and bigger and bigger, and my judgment is that it's a very complex look at the normal human experience of emotions. We are emotional beings, yeah, and with habits, which are coping strategies to experientially stay alive. I'd really encourage everybody to check out the YouTube, The Marketing of Madness. It is a few years old now, but it's still very, very relevant. And with emotions, I believe that we have a full set of piano keys. Everybody has a full set of piano keys. And within those piano keys, we have a paranoia key, an ADHD key, so on and so forth. The question is not whether or not we have the key. The question is how often that note is played. And you will find an individual where all they've got is 3 or 4 notes. Repeat, repeat, repeat. At one end of the polarity or the other. So it's almost like opposite ends of black and white. And what we need to be, as human beings, is more in the middle. We need to be more grey, and sometimes visiting the top end or visiting the bottom end. All of these keys fit within the 4 core emotions. 4 core emotions. Has anyone seen the film Inside Out? I would encourage you to watch the film Inside Out. I think it's very informative, although they do get a couple of things wrong. The core emotions are joy, fear, sadness, and anger. Now, everybody really wants a lot more joy in their life, but joy isn't just about having a fun time. It's about feeling at ease, peaceful, relaxed, calm, and content. If you're calm and content, you're in your joy. Joy is where self-esteem lives. Fear is a cognitive process. Fear is a thinking process. Fear only lives in the future. It does not live in the present, and it does not live in the past. Fear is about becoming stuck. Other speakers have talked about stuckness. That is just with fear, not stress. Stress does not exist.
The other option in stress is anger, and anger needs something else. Fear is about stuckness, and if we stay stuck with our fear for any period of time, it starts whipping up into an anxiety, and if we're still stuck with our anxiety, it whips like a whirlwind into a panic attack. But it's all the same. The antidote to fear is to mobilise. I think fight-flight is inappropriate and unhealthy and unhelpful. It is about mobilisation, to mobilise towards or mobilise away from. If people can't say and keep saying, well, I had to flight, I had to flight, I had to flight, there are connotations with that, and there are beliefs and introjects that will be fuelled by the repetition of saying, well, I had to run away. Because there's a sense of cowardice. And the paradox is that if you actually mobilise away from what you don't want, then ultimately you're mobilising towards what you do want. It's very healthy. I liken fear to being like a fear bucket. Everybody's got a fear bucket on their head. And everybody's got a dripping tap into that bucket. And you can't turn that tap off. The only time it's turned off is when you're dead. So it's constantly dripping. And eventually, that bucket starts filling up. And as somebody goes about their business, whatever that might look like, they might do something or experience something, and some of the liquid will slop over and they'll get wet. And nobody likes being made wet by surprise. So it's like, well, I've been made wet, I don't want to do that again. And they'll go about something else and they'll be made wet again and they don't want to do that. And slowly but surely their world and their life becomes smaller and smaller, to such an extent where they can't even leave the bedroom, to such an extent where they can't even open the curtain, for there's a fear of what they might see or experience. Fear is a fantasy. It's a guess. Fear lives in the future, and the future is unknown. Whether it's a nanosecond away or decades away, it's a guess. It's a void, and quite often the voids are just filled with rubbish. True, historically you might have been bitten by a dog and then believe that all dogs bite. But there's part truth in that. But it doesn't mean that you're going to be bitten by every dog. And if by chance you saw a dog walking towards you, you may fear being bitten by the dog, but you aren't yet bitten. And then if by chance you were bitten by the dog, you can no longer fear being bitten because you are bitten. You can only be happy, angry or sad. Happy you got it right. Sad you hurt him, and angry because the dog did it. Okay, so fear and joy are like a seesaw. Yeah? Put that down for a minute. Maybe like that. Fear and joy. If your fear's up, your joy's down. Your self-esteem's low. That's not healthy, it's not comfortable, nobody actually wants to be there. That's not healthy either. Because if your joy was right up here and your fear down here, you'd be in a manic phase and you'd need to be hospitalised. Because there's no sense of fear, there's no sense of consequence, there's no real awareness of danger. What we need to do is be balanced and just have a bit of a wobble. We don't want to be flat, because life would be boring then, nothing's going to happen. I.e. roller coasters. Okay, sadness. Sadness is about connection and lack of connection. So if you don't feel connected to someone or something, real or imaginary, an aspect of yourself or someone or something, real or imaginary, in the way that you wish to be connected, then you're going to evoke your sadness. Paradoxically, if you feel totally and utterly and authentically connected, then that will bring up your sadness as well, hence the term tears of joy. And you'll see this on things like talent shows, when somebody's done their performance and they get the praise and recognition, and they just bubble up because they're authentically connected to themselves. Sadness is where depression lives, addictions live, love lives, and grief lives. Anger. Anger is about boundaries, rules, and beliefs. And if you break one of your own boundaries, rules, or beliefs, you can become angry towards yourself or towards someone or something. And if someone or something breaks one of your boundaries, rules, or beliefs, Again, you can become angry towards yourself or someone or something. And by something, if, I'll just remember something, I'll come back. If you wanted to make a phone call right now and you looked at your mobile and you desperately wanted to make a phone call and there was no signal, how would you feel? I'm guessing there would be a charge. You might say, well, I'd just be a bit annoyed or a bit agitated or a bit frustrated, but I wouldn't be angry. Well, the truth is they're all anger words. Anger is anger, just as fear is fear, sadness is sadness, joy is joy. Whether it's a little bit or a lot, it's like sugar. If I gave you a teaspoon of sugar or 10 tons of sugar, it's still sugar. And there's like a sliding scale, and everybody has their own calibration as to where these different words actually live. Niggled, annoyed, agitated, frustrated. For fear, it would be things like, don't know what to do, not sure what I want to do, I feel stuck, I can't make a decision. They're all fear-based statements, all on a sliding scale. One thing I forgot to say was that fear lives in the head. It's a cognitive process, it's a thought process. The other emotions live in the body. So my invitation is for you just to breathe into your bodies and just scan yourselves right now how you're feeling, what you're aware of. And if you feel safe enough to close your eyes, just imagine that right now, behind you,